What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about the most famous hockey trade of all time. That's the Wayne Gretzky trade. And if you guys do end up liking this style of video, because it's another Mike Korzemba style of video, I really like the way he puts together his videos. If you do like it, please like this video and let me know in the comments. Also subscribe if you really like the video, because then it lets me know that I'm doing the right thing, lets me know that these videos are good. So please let me know. But let's waste no more time. Let's get right into it. Wayne Gretzky is the greatest hockey player of all time. He holds or shares 61 NHL records and is the face of the game of hockey. You wouldn't think a guy of that caliber would get traded. Well, that's not the case. August 9th, 1988, Wayne Gretzky was traded from the Edmonton Oilers to the Los Angeles Kings, a trade that nobody seen coming. In this video, I'm going to try to figure out all of the possibilities to why Wayne Gretzky was traded and who is responsible for it. Over the years, there have been so many theories, so many made-up stories, so many stories that could possibly be true. We need to look into all of that, so let's get into it. The Oilers had just won their 4th Stanley Cup in 5 seasons, and they were still positioned to be a team that was going to compete for many more years. It wasn't just a one-time thing. But the main piece to that puzzle is Wayne Gretzky, and he was set to become an unrestricted free agent by the end of the next season. This was not a good situation for a small market team at the time like the Edmonton Oilers. The rumblings started just after the Edmonton Oilers had beat the Boston Bruins in the 1988 Stanley Cup Final. Gretzky said that his dad and some other people around hockey had heard some rumblings about it, and obviously all of this was news to Wayne Gretzky. So things started to go through Wayne Gretzky's head. He didn't want to leave the Edmonton Oilers, but he did want to get paid what he was worth. This is where all the trade chat started to happen. After turning down countless offers from Kings' former owner, Jerry Buss, Bruce McNall became the owner of the LA Kings in 1988. McNall took over the Kings in the spring of 1988. He spent $20 million to take over the team. Quite a bit of money, of course, but since former owner Jerry Buss couldn't get the deal done, Bruce McNall kind of carried the torch over. He wanted to make some waves as the new owner and was starting to go after Wayne Gretzky. Here's where owner at the time, Peter Pocklington, comes in. Pocklington knew that if the Oilers were not generating enough revenue, that he was going to have to do something else. And he knew that in another season that Wayne Gretzky was going to become an unrestricted free agent, and that the team could probably use the money if they couldn't afford him. They were going to go into bidding wars with teams that they probably couldn't have matched offers with. So he figured he would get as much as possible for Gretzky as he could at the time. Still, nobody expected this to happen, even when the rumors were coming out at the beginning. Teammates, fans, even Gretzky himself were like, what is going on here? And Wayne Gretzky was already getting ready for the next season. He was already training, preparing as if he was going to sign another contract long term with the Edmonton Oilers. But we all know what happens next. On August 9th, 1988, the Oilers traded Gretzky along with Marty McSorley and Mike Krzyzewski, apologize if that is incorrect, to the Los Angeles Kings for Jimmy Carson, Martin Gelinas, $15 million in cash, which was 18.5 million Canadian, and the Kings' first-round draft picks in 1989, 1991, and 1993. Gretzky himself said, "I got sold. I didn't get traded." Fans were mad and confused. They were not sure why they were trading the best hockey player, a future Hall of Famer, away from their team. They were still contenders. They were trying to win more Stanley Cups. The Oilers, I believe at the time, had 21 different phone lines at their head offices, and people were canceling tickets, getting insanely mad, and there was a bunch of threats going on, and I think that's just crazy, but the fans were going nuts. Even a member of Canada's Parliament suggested that the federal government block the trade from happening or buy out the contract and sell it to another Canadian team. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Another person who was involved in this trade that didn't really want to be was GM and head coach at the time, Glenn Sather. He did not want any part of this deal. He was very upset hearing anything about this trade. I mean, Pocklington, of course the owner of the Edmonton Oilers at the time, had told ESPN that Glenn Sather was a little pissed off at him for making this trade happen. And Then ESPN sat down with Sather and he said, trust me, I was a little more than pissed off at the time. He pushed him at the time that they were talking, and he says that he wished he would have hit him. He told ESPN as well that he doesn't usually get emotional over things, and that instant really upset him. He even told Wayne Gretzky before this all was happening, before the press conference, I believe it was literally right before the press conference, like an hour or two before it, that he would resign and leave with Gretzky. I don't know the full details, but he said he would resign and block this from happening. He did not want any part of it, but we all know that it did happen. So now let's look at some of the individuals that really locked in and were a huge part of this ordeal, and we'll try to figure out maybe the real reason why Wayne Gretzky was traded. The first person I want to talk about is Bruce McNall. So like I mentioned earlier, he wanted a superstar in LA. He wanted Gretzky. He wanted to make moves as the first move that he made as the owner of this team. He wanted to make sure that the Kings got a guy that would take them to the promised land. He wanted the greatest hockey player. He wanted Wayne Gretzky, and right after he took over for Jerry Buss, he said, I'm gonna make this happen. I want it to happen. The Kings had missed the playoffs in 3 of the previous 6 seasons, so clearly they needed some help. They hadn't won a playoff series since they upset the Oilers in 1982, so bringing in a guy like Gretzky would definitely boost their franchise. So he did instigate the trade, and I mean, hey, he definitely won that trade. Let's talk about the woman that married Wayne Gretzky, somebody who's kind of underrated in this story, Janet Jones. So Wayne and Janet had met a couple years before this all happened, and Wayne Gretzky was a celebrity host on a Dance Fever show that she was on, if I'm not mistaken, and a lot of people were kind of sketchy about their marriage when it happened. Of course, the media likes to take any story that they can, because they got married a month before the trade happened. So the media said maybe her career ambitions of her being an actor broke up the Oilers dynasty. So Bruce McNall, the owner of the Kings, like I mentioned, said that she wasn't the one that instigated the trade. She didn't say this needs to happen, but he did say that she was there and she wanted the move to happen because, I mean, maybe Wayne wanted that too. There's always a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, but for McNall to at least come to her defense is obviously a good sign. She also talked to ESPN and said that she knows that the story makes sense, that it looks like she just, wanted to go to LA because that's where actors and famous people go. But she said that wasn't the case because she was pretty much pregnant for the next 8 years, so there was no time for her to be an actor. Sorry, actress. I just want to make that clear. I'm not, wanting to mess that little part up. I find it hilarious because if you do research and you watch documentaries and stuff like that on this trade, everybody loved her in Edmonton like 3 weeks before all of this crap happened because they had just gotten married and she was like the sweetheart of Edmonton. I think I read that somewhere and I think that's hilarious. Wayne Gretzky also said to come to her defense, and I think that this kind of takes her off the table for her causing the Wayne Gretzky trade. I think that that's hilarious that people still think that. But Wayne actually said that Janet wanted him to go to Detroit. She wanted him to play for the Red Wings. But it was his dad that actually said, hey, maybe LA will work. Maybe you can boost up the hockey community there. And ultimately, Wayne chose the LA Kings. So you can take her out of the equation and maybe put his dad on another pedestal. This is probably the guy that everybody figures is the reason why the trade happened. Peter Pocklington, the former owner of the Edmonton Oilers, or the owner at the time. Still to this day, there's a lot of Oilers fans that won't let it go, and I'm not blaming you. I'm not saying that you guys should just forget this ever happened. It did happen quite a long time ago, but he still will get death threats. He's like a villain. There's a lot of people that look at him as a villain. You have to look at it at this point. If we're going to play devil's advocate here, we're going to look at both sides. The Oilers were going to lose Wayne Gretzky. His market value was way more than what he was being paid at the time, and we'll get to that. But Pocklington had to at least look and say, listen, we might lose the friggin' best player, Wayne Gretzky, for nothing. I'm a small market team owner. I gotta make a move here. He was also a businessman and realized that he could probably make some money for the Edmonton Oilers by having cash included into there to make sure that his team was financially stable. A lot of people said it might have been for his businesses, but apparently they were in good condition at the time that he made the trade, because he did have multiple other businesses other than just being the owner of the Edmonton Oilers. So he figured bringing in that money, around $18.5 million Canadian if it was transferred, I believe, He wanted to make that move just so that way the Oilers did have that money as well, maybe to help their market a little bit. So still to this day, people probably don't believe him, and there are people that do believe him. I don't know where I stand. I kind of believe him, I kind of don't, but the Edmonton Oilers were a small market team. He figured, I don't want to trade Wayne Gretzky, and he has said that he didn't really want to. It was kind of just the case that he had to. Wayne Gretzky was making $1 million with the Edmonton Oilers, and Pocklington said that if he did hit the open market, the greatest hockey player ever would probably get $4 to $5 million per season. If you look at contracts today, oh my God. Gretzky went on to sign a 8-year, $20 million deal with the LA Kings, and that included bonuses. So just remember, a guy like Connor McDavid is getting paid like $10 million plus per season. Gretzky signed an 8-year, $20 million deal with the LA Kings. Obviously completely different times, but just, I have to say that just to put that into perspective. Pocklington also said that he believes that Wayne Gretzky did have the right to determine his own destiny, and it's not like he's wanting to replace Wayne Gretzky in this trade, because he said, how do you replace the best player in the world? And he did not want to trade Wayne Gretzky because he didn't look at Wayne as a player, he looked at him more like a son. Pocklington also gave Gretzky a chance to pull out of the deal, saying that if you do not want to make this trade happen, we don't have to do it. So he was going to let Gretzky play out his final year in Edmonton and see where it goes. He probably wouldn't have taken a pay cut to stay in a smaller market because they wouldn't have been able to afford him anyways. So Pocklington told him, hey, you know what, we can back out of this, you can play. But Gretzky said, it's too late now. There's new opportunities for me in LA, so let's just go through with it. And there it is. The move happened. At the time of the trade, Wayne Gretzky was already on his way to the Hockey Hall of Fame. At the age of 27, he was just dominating the entire league. At the time, Wayne Gretzky had the single season records for goals at 92, assists at 163, and points at 215. He was already the league's all-time assist leader at 1,086. He also set 218 goals and 181 points behind Gordie Howe for the #1 overall spot in those categories. And of course, eventually he would break all those records with the LA Kings. In 8 seasons in Los Angeles, Gretzky had 246 goals and 672 assists. In his first season with the Kings, he also won the Hart Trophy as the league's most valuable player for the 9th and final time in his career. He also got Kings fans very, very excited when he won the NHL scoring title in both the 2nd and 3rd season that he played with the Kings. So like I mentioned earlier, the Kings had missed the playoffs in 3 of the previous 6 seasons before they acquired Wayne Gretzky, and they hadn't won a playoff series since they upset the Oilers in 1982. The Kings ended up making the playoffs the first 5 seasons that Wayne Gretzky played with the Kings. In 1993, they made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final, but lost to the Montreal Canadiens in 5 games. Gretzky ended up leaving the LA Kings when he was traded from the Kings to the St. Louis Blues on February 27th, 1996. He then signed as a free agent with the New York Rangers on July 21st, 1996. He signed there and reunited with Mark Messier for the final 3 seasons of his career, and retired on April 16th, 1999. The Oilers actually did win 1 more Stanley Cup without Wayne Gretzky as well in 1990, but then the dynasty would kind of fall apart with Messier leaving, Grant Fuhr and Yari Curry also leaving as well. So if you look at everything that we said in this video, there is a bunch of different options to why Wayne Gretzky was traded from the Oilers to the LA Kings in the most popular trade of all time. You can make up your mind to tell me which option you think was the reason why Wayne Gretzky was traded. You can put that in the comment section down below. Like the video if you liked it. I put a lot of effort into this video. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. I'd love to have more hockey conversations with you. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.